Welcome to Where There's Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your Make a Bugsy casual gamer,
I'm Stacey. I'm your non-gamer gamer.
and we're here on Valentine's Day to do our 15 worker placement recommendation games. This is our new format for our five and dimes. Stacey's still giving 5, I'm still giving 10, but we're not ranking them. We're just giving 15 games we really enjoy to play. On my list, I have basically two separate lists. I have 5 games that I enjoy playing solo and 5 games that I enjoy playing multiplayer. Some of the solo ones I would like to play multiplayer as well. Worker placement is a mechanic we really enjoy. It's one I really enjoy. I've got lots of. This was a very difficult list for me. I have a lot of my solo gaming seems to fall into this, and some of these games have one worker. Some of these games have 5 workers. Some of them have 2. It's a lot of different things, and workers are a lot of different things. We've got meeples. We've got little tokens that are workers. We've got let's see, what else do we have in here? We've got miniatures. We've got I think that's it. So all sorts of different types of workers. Oh, and dice. Dice workers. So we're including dice workers as worker placement. So yeah, so this is something we enjoy. We have lots of really good ones. Like I said, a lot of my solo gaming seems to be in this genre, in this mechanic. So let's get on to our list. So my first one is Gnome Hollow. Gnome Hollow is a game from the op that came out in 2024. Yeah, last year was 2024. It's still weird thinking about that. That last year was 2024. And Gnome Hollow, in Gnome Hollow, you have 2 worker gnomes. The game starts as a tile placement. We could have probably put this one in the tile placement one, but I think we kind of missed it on there. But it works in the worker placement. So in Gnome Hollow, you have 2 gnomes. First, you are placing some tiles down, but then you're placing your gnomes either to claim some rings, some mushroom rings, or you're placing it on the stump to go and put those and sell those mushrooms, or you're placing them in the flower to go get different flowers for your to earn your points. So this one's a lot of fun because it is only 2 workers, and the 2 workers are are uh, are pretty tight. I mean, like 2 workers are. It's a lot. You got it. You have a lot you have to do, but it's only 2 workers, and you like, do I move something? Do I move here? Do I move this worker? Like, one worker, if you're sitting on a mushroom ring that you're trying to make pretty big, that worker is pretty much stuck there. And if you're on 2 mushroom rings, you aren't going to do anything else until you close those off, because you don't want to give somebody else that mushroom ring. So that is Gnome Hollow. My number 2 is another new game from last year. This is a solo game that uses dice workers, and that is Forges of Ravenshire from BA Games, I believe it is. In Forges of Ravenshire, you are using dice in a very interesting way. You are using dice in 3 different ways. First, you are placing a dice onto the main board into one of 6 different locations and getting some sort of rewards from that. Then you are taking another dice and you are taking that dice off of another spot, or off of another dice off of the board, the main board, and you're placing it on your personal player board above one of the 3 different engines that you're trying to build. So you're trying to collect these different um, uh, things in the yellow, green, and purple columns on your personal board to build an engine that will allow you to gain more materials, more resources to forge your different weapons and shields and armor and things. And so the second phase of this is you are taking a dice off and you're earning more rewards for that. Then the third phase, so that's all done in the worker placement part on the board and taking it off. Then the next phase is you're making your stuff. So then you're taking the 3 dice that you took off the board and you're using them over on the right side of your personal board to actually make your to actually forge your different things, or gain some more things so that you can forge in the future. So I really like this dice worker here where you are doing three different things and you're also trying to build this engine to help you earn more items and earn more resources. The resources I like this are really are all tracked on just a little on a dual layer board. But the fact that you're using dice three different ways in one round is really cool. Like I love that you placing a dice, you're taking a dice, and then you're placing that dice in your personal spot. So that is Forges of Ravenshire. And moving on to your first choice.
I don't know why I'm getting this into the giggles. This is not good.
We went
Okay.
skiing today, and it was a little tiring, and it was a little flat light, so it wasn't the greatest, but
Yeah.
it was good. So we're a
I'm a
little
little.
tired,
I'm a
which is
little.
why we're also live tonight because we've been a long week, and so we did not get this recorded ahead of time.
So my first game that I am recommending is My Singing Monsters, the board game. I really like this game. It's a strategic worker placement game that is set in the or set in the world of singing monsters. It's designed to help grow your player skills as well as you play your grow your player skills. You can add different things into the game to make it more difficult as well, or you can just keep it as a simple game. You can start it out simple and add new components, and the rules will change with that as well. The players will place the monster from your hand onto the available slot on the island, and each island has a different action, which is triggered when a monster is played on it. In addition to the island effects, the players will breed new monsters and add to their hand and receive element tokens matching the monsters that they've just played. The element tokens are placed on the music cards, and once that's filled, the score to advance your player's position is done on the scoring track that is on there. Oh my gosh, I cannot think. I'm so sorry. The end of the game is triggered when a player enters the final row on the scoring track, which is in green there on the bottom. And all players will have one final turn before the scores are tallied and the winner is determined.
Yeah, so you've
And
got
they
five different boards.
sing. Yes,
Yeah,
you've
they
got.
sing. They sing, yes.
Yes. So with each board that you add on, it adds a little bit more difficulty, like I said. But you can't see me pointing at the screen, but I know what I'm doing. So the island is the ones on the side, and you will place your tokens in there to earn your monsters points and to breed your monsters so that they can help you in the long run by getting more points with the more monsters that you breed.
Yeah, so level one monsters breed to make two to one and two to three or something like that. We haven't played it for a while. We played it this summer. It's a really fun game. It takes up a lot of space for what it is because there's a lot of cards. You have to have
A
all of your
lot of
cards out. Like
cards.
it takes up a lot of space. That is one that probably will probably will not be live streamed or played through ever.
I
But
don't think we'd be able to fit it under our camera.
we'd have to have all the cards. We could have the main part under the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a fun game,
that's a
though.
fun one.
I
Yeah.
Once we played it, I wanted to play it immediately again. And for me to be able to do that, I really have to like the game.
Yeah,
So
that is a fun one.
My Singing Monsters. Once I don't think that that gets enough credit from people either. It started out as an app, I believe.
Yeah, it started out as an app.
And the app was not that great, but the
Well,
board game is much
I
better.
think the app was actually pretty popular.
Oh.
I think the app was pretty popular. I after I backed the game, this was early into my Kickstarter. I was backing stuff and I was trying to back stuff once a month. Um, and then I backed this and then I found out it was an app. I thought it looked cute. I thought it looked kind of fun. And then I found it, so I downloaded the app. I think the app was pretty popular. I guess it was pretty popular, but it just wasn't for me. It was silly. So on the app, you when you breed, they do different songs, and so you actually have the actual singing part of it. So yeah, it's a fun game. I think people would actually enjoy it. There is quite a bit to set up because of the cards, but yeah, that's a good one. That was another new one to us last year. It was not. It had been sitting on our shelf for a while, but that was another new one to us last year. So my next one is also another one that was new to us last year. There's actually a couple. There's a few that were new to us last year on this list. Even some 2024 games. My next one comes to us. Oh, before I said that one comes to us from Blue Bubble Games, I believe it is. I believe that's what they're called. My next one comes to us from Devere Games, I believe it is. And this one is a worker placement game where you are building out different cities, and that is cities. So in cities, you have a main board here on the screen in the middle where you have in a three or four player game, you have four workers that you are placing out there into one of four different rows. In a 2 player game, you have 8. You're going to get 2 things from each row. The top row is bonus scoring cards that are unique to you. The second row is tiles you are placing into your city that have land and water on them. The third row are features you are putting into your city, and then you score based on how many points you have. And then the fourth row are buildings you're putting into your city as well, and they stack on top of each other, and those will help with your scoring. You also have in the top middle of the main board, you have different cities that you can put into that spot, and they each have 3 different requirements or goals you're trying to that everybody's trying to reach, and the first one to get them gets the most points, and then the second most gets the second most, third most gets the third most. So in a 3 or 4 player game, you each get 1 meeple, or 3 meeples, and you're gonna place 4 meeples. Sorry, 4 meeples, and you're gonna place one in each row. I believe it is. In a 2 player game, you each get two. You each get 8 meeples, and you get 2 things from each row. So this game is it's a pretty quick game to play at 2 players for sure, because you're only playing 4 rounds. I think it is, because you're getting 8 total. You have one starter tile, and then you're getting 8 more tiles over 4 rounds. So it's pretty quick. I like the fact that there are 4 different things that you are trying to get, and each one does something a little different, and you got to try to figure out, like, I'd really like that scoring card, but man, I really need that tile to build my city because I need that much land and I need that much water. But I also would really like those features because I want to get all 5 features in this area so I score the most points. So the ability to have to like choose like which one of the areas are you going to do, and it's not just resources, which I kind of like. I mean, I guess they're kind of resources, but there's tiles, there's scoring, there's, I guess, the buildings are kind of like
Mm-hmm.
resources, and the features are kind of like resources. But the fact that you are drafting your tiles as well, and then you're also drafting your bonus points, so it's really fun. I like that you have 3 things that you're all going for, but then I love that you're going to end up with 8 different things, scoring things that only you're going to do. Now, I say that loosely because there are multiples of the scoring thing. So somebody else may have the same scoring card as you, but most likely everybody's not. And you could get it more than one time. So that is Cities by Devere Games. My number 4 comes to us from Thunderworks Games, and this one I don't hear talked about too much. This is in the role player universe, and this one is Lockup, a role player game. I believe it's the full title of it. In Lockup, you are using tokens or little square tiles as your workers. And what you are trying to do is you're trying to bid in the different rooms in the you're trying to bid in the different rooms in this prison. This is in a prison, and you are playing as one of the creatures that is in the prison, and you're trying to get different. On the left side, you're trying to get 3 different types of resources, and top middle you can get resources. In the middle of the board is where the first player token you can earn. On the upper right, you can get goons to kind of score off of. On the bottom, or on the right side of the bottom, is where you will spend your resources in order to make things, in order to earn points. You also can get some bonus scoring in the middle, in the bottom middle. This is one that I play solo only, as was Forges of Ravenshire. Both have really good solo modes. I like this. You're bidding basically each room you are putting in a a worker tile that has a different value on it, and when you do that, you're trying to once you put it in there, you can't put anything else in there. So if someone outbids you, you can't outbid them again. So it's a really interesting push and pull as to like what do I really want this round, especially in the solo game. And like in the solo game, there are face down guards in each one of the rooms, and then each round starts with you getting a new guard and putting it in a room face up, and then flipping over one so that you can see it. So it's a really interesting push and pull. Is like, where do I want to go now? What do I want to make sure I get? So I want to wait to see how many points the guard has, because it is in some of those rooms it is only whoever has the highest value in that room gets whatever it is. So lockup's a really good one. I really enjoy this one. I'll probably do some coverage of this at some point because I do have the breakout expansion that Thunderworks sent to me. So I'll probably be doing some solo coverage of this at some point in the next month and a half. I think you got to get that to the table. So that was Lockup by Thunderworks Games.
And it's my turn,
It is.
and my next game is Wild Serengeti. Wild Serengeti. First of all, I just want to say that that's probably the most awesome box cover. I just absolutely love it.
It's one of our. It's one of the best ones.
It's one of the best
It's
ones.
one of the best ones we have.
But Wild Serengeti, just by the name of it, you can probably tell that it is inspired by the Serengeti. This game combines worker placement with puzzle solving, set collections, engine building, and you're trying to just figure out a strategic way to earn the most points towards the end and to gain the victory points as well. You're trying to complete scene cards by placing the animals on the main board in the same pattern as it shows on the cards that are across the top of the board. Um, this is I just lost my train of thought, which you get used to it when you get old like me. To achieve the patterns shown on the scene cards, the players or whoever's playing needs to create actions to either move or place your animals on the board. When the animals are placed on the main board in the same pattern as the cards that are displayed on the scene card, then that scene is completed and you can then earn the points on that, and you receive your icons or your rewards for placing those cards and your animals. The player that can earn the most points on different resources with the icons gain continuous benefits throughout the game. So there's one, I think it's the camera, or is it the ham bone or something? You can throw a ham bone and you can have the animals move in extra space. So some of the cards have extra bonuses that you are able to play. This is from Bad Comet Games. I probably should start saying who my games are made by. And the cards on this, I some of them are a little morbid, if you ask me. It has, a tiger chasing down.
A lion has to be next to three zebras, and
Yeah.
your reward is 3 pieces of meat later, and you're like, oh, all right.
Yeah. But that's just all of being in the wild. It's how
That-
the wild
yeah,
rolls.
it is very thematic. I like this one because this one's very unique because you kind of have two different sets of workers. You have one worker that is a camera because you're trying to make a film, and you're placing it on that board in the upper right to tell you what your action is going to be. But then when you take animals, you are those are almost like workers because you're placing them in on the board in the bottom right, in certain, like Stacey said, in certain configurations to score your cards that you're scoring, and it's over 6 rounds. So, yeah, that one really has one worker. That's it, because every round you're moving it to, um, or every round you're moving it to six or seven different spots because you have 6 coins in rounds 1 through 3, and then 7 in 4 through 6. So yeah, that's another good one.
Yep.
We really enjoyed that one. I like the scenarios in that one. I know a lot of people like Life of the Amazonia better. I don't care for that one solo, and we play Wild Serengeti together, so I love Wild Serengeti.
The thing I do like about Wild Serengeti, or I'm sorry, not
Yeah, Wild Serengeti.
Wild Serengeti, is that the giraffes, the elephants, all the animals that you are placing on the board are actually really nicely made wooden pieces.
Yes,
So they're
yes.
not going to get damaged. I think it's funny when the elephant's supposed to be in the trees.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
okay, so he's under the trees. Okay. Or, oh, we need an elephant in the rocks. Really? Yeah, you got a lot of elephants going in the rocks, but okay.
but no, but the pieces are very well made, and so it's a game that's going to last you a long time as well. I recommend Wild Serengeti. I find it fun. It was a little bit intimidating for me at first because it looks like a lot when you start playing it, but it's really not. Once you read the rules and you figure out what needs to be done, it's actually kind of a simple game to play. It's just all about the strategy and making sure you're placing your little worker accordingly to get those scenes figured out
Yeah.
and getting the most points for them.
Yeah. Nice. Wild Serengeti. All right, my next game, I'm trying to look at my list here, comes to us from one of our favorite companies that we enjoy, and that is from Kids Table Board Gaming. This is the first game from them that we got. We now have, I believe, just about everything from them, and it is also the first game that I backed on Kickstarter, and that is Creature Comforts. Uh,
Aww.
Creature Comforts is such a good game. I don't think this one gets enough credit, honestly. It is rated pretty high, overall, ranked pretty high overall on BGA, but I don't think this one gets enough credit. Um, this one is very unique because you have multiple kind of worker placement sort of things. You have two family dice in your family's color. You roll those, then you place the workers on the locations around the board. You have the two places in the top, the meadow and the forest. You have the river, where you can place and earn things. You can place it down in the owl's nest, down in the bottom to get new cards for comforts that you're making. You can put it in the left for improvements to your habit, to your little den. What you're trying to do is you're trying to prepare for winter. So you need to make yourself comfortable for winter. There's also some visitors that can help you, and there's a trading market that we don't use a whole
Mm-mm.
lot.
I think
Um,
it would come in effect for more
I
players.
think maybe it would too. But the unique thing about this is you have a multi-step kind of worker placement. So you are rolling two of your family dice, then you are placing your four, I cannot remember, four or five meeples. Four meeples.
Five,
Five,
isn't
four. You're placing your meeples. We're a little tight. A little tired. You're placing your meeples out, knowing with only the knowledge of what is
what
rolled
you?
on your family dice. So that makes it a little hard because there's four more village dice that everybody's going to use. So having to place your workers out based on limited knowledge makes this game really interesting because, like, I really need that and that, but there's only six dice. Those will need six dice. I also need something down here. Do I place them both up there in the forest or the meadow, but then place stuff around just in case? So if you can't fulfill something your workers, that is interesting. They have this aspect where you get a lesson learned. Oh, you learned a lesson, you couldn't do that. So in a future turn you can increase or decrease a dice by one or minus or by one. So increase it or decrease it by one. But like I said, I think kind of like with Forges of Ravenshire, where you're doing multiple things with one with with your dice. I really like the fact that you're rolling two dice, you're placing your workers based on limited information. Then whoever is the first player rolls the village dice, and everybody uses those dice. So you may or may not be able to actually fulfill the thing. So that is such a really
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing. I don't think we have any other games that have that sort of limited knowledge thing before you're placing your workers. This has been one of our favorites since we got it and learned it. This continues to be our favorite, one of our favorites. We have the two little mini expansions with it, and some other mini expansions, just a couple of cards and things that we've gotten through different promos and things. But that is Creature Comforts from Kids Table Board Gaming. Um, yeah, so Stacy's list is just in a random order. I went through and I actually looked at which games were where they were ranked right now on BGA, and I kind of did that. So that one,
Oh,
yeah, so that one was actually, um, and I have the solo and the multiplayer. So that one,
making me look bad.
I just wanted mine in some sort of. I
Mm,
was trying to figure out how to get my solo and multiplayer ones,
I
and
see
so I
how
just
it
did that.
is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um, yeah. Anyway, the next one comes to us from Road to Infamy, and this is a game all about making cheese, and this is Fromage. This is one I've only played solo. I really hope to teach Stacey at some point. But in Fromage, you have three workers, and your workers each are a different cheese type. So you have a hard cheese, a soft cheese, and a blue cheese. And when you place your worker out with your cheese, you don't get them back right away. So it's not like you get them back at the end of the round. You'll see there's a lazy Susan here. This board spins. Each person, you can kind of see on the right side of the board, has their own player mat where they're kind of collecting things on it. They can collect animals and buildings to upgrade kind of their farm. But each one of these quadrants on the board is a different um, mini game. The unique thing with the worker placement part on this, and this is one thing I really like, and as you notice, I like some unique worker placement stuff, is when you place it, you're either placing it in a bronze area, a silver area, or a gold area. If you place it in a bronze area, when the Lazy Susan rotates a quarter turn on the next round, you'll get it back right away. If the if you place it on a silver, you're not going to get it back until it's for two more rounds because you only get your worker back when it is actually facing you, which is really cool about this. If you want a gold spot, you will not get it back for 3 rounds. So the understanding of what I need to do I want to play the mini game or do I want to collect resources from the middle of the board? And knowing like how many things you need or what do I need to score the most is something I really, really like in this game. I like the idea of, I like the whole concept of, okay, I really need these fruits or I really want some more scoring cards, some order cards, or I want some animals so I can make some bonus cheeses, or I want the buildings so I can get some bonuses. But man, I really need this cheese, this cheese type next round because what I'm already doing on this round, I need this cheese type. So I really
Hmm.
like that. It is only three workers. I mean, I've played this quite a bit on BGA as well. And there's times, even on solo on the tabletop, where I will have no workers for a full round, and basically it's I just pass my turn. Because my workers are all out there for at least another round because I needed those things more than another one. So I really like that aspect of the worker placement in this one is you really got to think, okay, I know this region is or this area is coming up. I really need to keep working whatever the mini game is there. I can ignore the mini game here. I also really need some resources from that one. So I need to make sure that my workers are coming back to me in a timely manner so that I can get them. So I really like that part of the game and just it's a fun game. I really like it. And that worker placement is just so unique to it. So that is Fromage from Road to Infamy.
Very good. My next game is by Dirty Rascal Games, and I just learned it last year, and I think it came out last year,
It
2024.
it did.
So it's new to a lot of people, and it's Survival of the Fattest. With Survival of the Fattest, you are a woodland character. There's a few to choose from. And the woodland character, you are using their unique abilities and their tricks, I'll call them, we'll call them tricks, um, to forage for food along the way. Um, you gather your food by completing the recipes that they have from the market, and also you have in-game bonuses and end-of-game victory points as well. You have 3 seasons to complete all of your tasks. If you have to feed your critter by the end of the game. If you do not feed your critter by the end of the game, you're automatically out and you don't score anything. So you need to make sure you feed your critter. You turn that card over when you feed him, and then he has powers that you get to use on top of that. You are going to be moving your character to different areas of the board to earn and complete the recipes and to store the winter for the winter that is coming. The worker placement, the deck building, you have some memory because you have some vegetables and some fruits that you're gathering that you need to turn over and store in your uh, we'll call it your den.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to score, or I'm sorry, you have to remember what you have in there to complete other recipe cards as well. So you are deck building, you're got your worker placement going, area moving, and some memory building in there as well. So if your memory sucks, that's okay. You can still go through those cards and finish recipes. That's what I do. I have no clue what I put in there most of the time.
Oh, I don't remember what I don't
No,
remember what cards I have inside the thing. You get to
no.
look at them on some various things, but
There
I
are
don't.
cards where you get to look and see what you have. But you do get to move to the different areas of the board, collecting all kinds of goodies. The stars get you extra. Is that what the stars are for? I don't remember.
The stars are wild. So the
That's
stars
right.
are wild. Yeah, the stars are wild.
Yes, stars are wild. I really like this game. Um, it makes the artistry in this game is just adorable. How can
Mm-hmm.
you not like it? And the worker placement, if you're on the same spot as somebody else, the other person gets a bonus, don't they?
Um, on
Or
the
am I thinking of the wrong
on
room?
in when you're foraging along the top, it's whoever has the most forage points gets to go
That
first.
okay?
And then in the other ones, I can't remember. We did a
Yeah.
live stream of this, so you can see that on our channel as well. And Dirty Rascal Games actually joined in for the entire live stream. They kind of had it on in the background as they were
Mm-hmm.
working, but they did clarify and a lot of things that we weren't sure on. So there's some good clarification in there from Dirty Rascal Games. So you can look for that on our channel as well. That's a good one. I do enjoy the one. I love the
Oh,
I love
Grizz,
the
he's so
they're not
mean.
meeples, the miniatures. Oh, Grizz is
Mm.
not quite a miniature. He
No.
is big. He is big. So yeah, that is a really good one.
Survival of the
Survival of
fittest.
the Fittest, nice. My next one comes to us from Keymaster Games, and this one is one that is getting a second edition soon. That is going to be combining some of the expansion stuff in with it. It's getting some new artwork because they no longer have the rights to it, and it has a few new mechanics. But we have the first version, the first edition with all the expansion, and that is Parks. Um, in Parks, you are taking a trek over 3 rounds, and each round has one extra space added in, and you are trying to collect sun and water and tree and other tokens to be able to visit national parks. Um, the thing I like about this game is you can see the board on the bottom. The worker placement on this one I really like because it is a one-way track, and you can't go on to the same space that somebody else is on unless you have your fireplace or your campfire. If you have your campfire still, you can extinguish, not distinguish, extinguish it, and you can go onto the same space as another person. So it is unique because it's a one-way track. Because if you really need something, you might need to wait. But also, if somebody has both of their hikers at the end of the track, as soon as one person goes to the end of the track, then you have to move all yours to the end. So you don't want to go too slow, but you also don't want to go too fast. And then it does have two expansions: the uh, nightlife where you're camping, and the no nightlife, not nightlife. I can't remember. There's one where you add some camping mechanism. I think it's nightlife.
The night sky.
No, I don't remember
Night.
what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. And wild because it's wildlife, and now this is gonna drive me crazy, so I need to look it up. Um, it's not nightlife. What is it called?
I don't
Parks.
know.
Nightfall.
Nightfall.
Nightfall. So there's the
Close.
Nightfall and the Wildlife. I knew it wasn't Nightlife because it was Wildlife. And those add some more cards, a little bit of different mechanics in there that are interesting. The camping one in Nightfall, I really like because it gives you some different abilities. It gives you some different things you can do. So yeah, I really like the one-way track on this one for the worker placement. Speaking of worker placement, things I like about it, The one-way track, the fact that you can't go on a place that somebody else is and still you until you unless you have your campfire still. Um, and yeah, and then if someone finishes the track with both theirs, you got to pull yours to the end. So it's kind of that, okay, how quickly do I go? Like I want to get all this up, but how quickly do I go? So that is Parks, and that's with or without the expansions. We have them all. We do enjoy them. All right, the next one comes to me from one of my favorite solo companies, and that is Stonemaier Games, and this is all about space bees, and this is Apiary. Apiary is, since it came out, has been my number one solo game. It is my number one game from Stonemaier right now. Um, in Apiary, you are bees that have become very smart and they are living in space. And so in Apiary, you are going to one of these different locations. With a lot of worker placement, you're going to a lot of different locations. You're exploring in the upper left of the board different planets where you can get some little tokens that give you some little bonus things, and then you put a planet tile on there and you can get some bonuses from that. In the upper right, you're doing improvements where you are advancing your colony. Over on the left, you can see there's two mats. Those are your player mats, and you have a faction that is on there, and then there's different rewards on the player mat. The tiles in on the right, the green, the blue, and the reddish, will go onto those spaces. Then you can go into the grow area on the left side of the main board where you can put new like tile spaces, new new boards connected to your main mat uh, that grow your area where you can build. So you have resource stuff on the top and on the tile side in the advance, and then you have some improvements and you have some other things that are one-time use in the red. In the bottom right, you can go convert things. So you can convert resources. You can go get honey there. Honey is very important because in the bottom middle is where you carve and you will get your honey things, and those give you some really high scoring. The thing I like about this one is the bumping mechanic. So you can see in each one of the areas, there's a lot of the areas there's more than one thing. Some of them there is only one space to put your space bee. When you place it there, you if you're the first one there, you just place it in the first spot. But if you're the second person to place it there, then you bump the other one over, even if you are the second one. And what happens is now you are using the total value of both of those bees when you are doing whatever you're going to do. Um, some of them it bumps off. If your bee bumps out of the space, then what is going to happen is your bee is going to age basically. You start them at certain levels. Like I think most of them are like a two and two ones or two twos and a one. Um, and what happens is you are aging them. You bring them back to your mat, and then when you reactivate them, I cannot remember what it's called off the top of my head. When you reactivate them into an active area, then you get to use them again. But then they're going to age when you get them back to your mat. When they're a level 4B, you have to have a level 4B to go down to that carve action. So you need to get some up to level 4. But you are also when it after it's level 4, if it gets bumped, it goes into hibernation. So if we go back to the picture on the bottom of the board, which you cannot quite see, I've got to make our little photo credit stuff a little bit smaller. There's a hibernation comb, and what happens is you get to place your hibernation bee there, and you get some extra rewards. And then you have to get your bees back, so you only have a certain number of bees that you are using. So with the worker placement on this one, I really like the bumping mechanism. I love the aging of the bees, that they get stronger so you can do some better things. You have like more points to do things with, basically. And I love that hibernation where like if it's a level 4, it goes into the hibernation field and you have to get it back. So that is Apiary by Stonemaier Games, and those are some of the things about the worker placement that I really like in that one.
That one sounds hard.
Um, it's not that hard. You don't have to do everything in it. So it does look like a big board. There's a lot of things going on, but you don't actually have to do everything. You could focus on doing some of the things. Um, But yeah,
Huh.
so it's an interesting one. I really like it. I love the bumping on it. I love the hibernation on it. So
Okay.
Apiary by Stonemeyer Games.
And I am next with another KTBG game that's very popular in our family. And I am recommending Rec Raiders by Kids Table Board Games. Rec Raiders, I believe, is going out of print soon.
They
So
did tell me it is going out of print, so you may need to just.
you
I
may,
know they have some for sale, but
yeah, there's only a few copies, like new copies for sale out there. So if you want it, you need to get it quickly before it does go out of print. Otherwise, you'll have to buy somebody's used copy, which is okay. But Rec Raiders is a dice drafting worker placement game. You roll your dice in the box top, which is there in the left top corner. You roll your dice in that box top, and you will collect those and put them in the pool. Depending on what number you have, and you can collect other uh, bonuses, we'll call them, as you continue on with the game. So you then take those dice, you oh oh uh, choose a dice from the pool. Then you send one of your divers to any spot on the board with that number. When the spot you choose on your next turn, if it's the same number, then you can put it on a different one on the board on that same number, and then you can boot one of your players over to the beach.
oh, so this has the bumping.
Oh,
This has
yeah.
bumping like Apiary does. That's what you're doing in
Okay.
Apiary. You're bumping the bees
Okay.
around.
Okay. So you could bump another player onto the beach, or you can assist. What is it called when you help a friend out? You can help a friend out by going next to them, and then they'll get two bonuses,
Yeah.
and then you get your one bonus.
You get
Um,
you
or
well
you get two and they get one.
each person gets one.
Yes. So you can visit. You can then bump your player to the beach, or you can put your player onto the beach to gather washed up seashells that have been onto the beach. And you can also build aquariums up the side to get extra bonus points as well. The aquariums have different scoring levels as well. The aquarium parts are up in your right hand part of your screen, with the face down pieces and the pieces that you can also purchase with seashells and coins as well.
So you have a bottom, then you have
Mm-hmm.
middles, and then you have a top. The
Mm-hmm.
top tells you your scoring, and the middles you can have as many middles as you want in it.
Yep.
We've had some pretty tall ones.
Oh yeah, I've had a really big one. When the game ends, you'll earn all the coins for your exhibits that you have from your vault that you are building and your aquariums. The player with the most coins at the end wins. I like this game.
This was a
I like
new
it a lot.
this was a new one to us that KTBG sent to us for a review.
Mhm.
Um, like
So,
in January, and we did a live stream of it. Although the
mhm.
live stream had some
Mm.
technical difficulties, so we got to do a new playthrough
I
of it.
don't recommend that.
We do an initial. Well, yeah, we'll probably that one will probably
We'll
come
have to
off.
do a
That
new
one will
one.
probably come off. And we have an initial impressions. I really like that one. It's a lot of fun. That bumping mechanism, the positive player interaction
Mhm.
with if you are doing a dive site and you just need to get that one thing that one type of treasure, and you have to go there and you're next to someone, they also get something. So it's that positive player interaction, that bumping
Mhm.
mechanism, the different things. So yeah, that's a really good worker placement one
Yep.
as well.
And you can have different strategies on playing the game. You
Yeah.
can try and bump your players over to the shore, and that will earn you extra points. You can just try and, if you have a final aquarium bonus that gets you a lot of points for a certain aspect in your aquarium, you may just want to try and build as many aquariums as you can,
Yeah.
or one really tall aquarium, while trying to get your shipwreck points. So there's different ways that you can go about the scoring as well. So
Yeah.
I really like the aspects of that as well.
I that one was another one that was a big hit for us immediately as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I don't think is enough coverage. I
Mm-mm.
don't. Yeah, just not one
When
you've heard
did
of.
the year that came out? Maybe.
It was before Creature Comforts.
Oh.
It's older than that.
Huh.
It just doesn't get the yeah. But that is a really good one. If you can get your hands on it and you like kind of a lighter, um,
call
What
that
do
a
we?
nighttime or a after work game.
Oh, we could play that one after.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you could play that one.
it
You
goes.
could play that on a weeknight game
Yeah.
pretty quickly. That's another good one. All right. My final two, kind of coincidentally, are actually ranked back to back on
Ooh.
Board Game Arena or on Board Game Geek. Um, these are not our two highest ranked. We do have one ranked higher, but I only play it solo, and it's a big setup, and I'm not crazy about it solo. So we'll see. But the next one is, well, I just talked about Stonemaier, and this is another Stonemaier game. And this one is, I believe, their first game, and that is Viticulture. And I have the Tuscany expansion as well. I really like Viticulture. This is another one that I play. This is on my two play. I do play this. Stacey has played this with me, so this is multiple. I play this primarily solo, but I cheated a little bit with the two player because Stacey has played, and I do play this on BGA quite a bit as well, multiplayer. So in Viticulture, you are, and this is the Tuscany map. So I do recommend the Tuscany map because it each season is worth something. So in Viticulture, you are placing your workers out onto different locations, basically running a vineyard. You have to plant grapes, you have to harvest grapes, you have to make wine, you can give tours, you can do different things you can get different buildings. All the while you are trying to earn points. In the bottom left of the Tuscany board, you have an area control spot where you can place some things down there to try and earn some more points. But the worker placement in this one is pretty straightforward worker placement. You're placing your workers in a spot, and you're getting whatever that spot gives you, whether it's money, whether it's planting ability, whether it's selling fields to earn money, whatever it is. Um, the thing I really like about this one is you do have to purchase, or hire more workers at some
Mm-hmm.
point because you only start with a couple workers and your grande worker. Your grande worker, I really like. That's a mechanic I really like that I'll talk about in a minute. But as you're playing and you play your workers out, you kind of have to strategize as to when you're going to play them out because you don't get them back to the end of the round. Well, the end of the round is after all the seasons. So if you use a lot of them early, you don't have them late. And you don't want to save them all till late because you're not going to have enough spaces, especially in a two-player game, because there's some spaces that are blocked off depending on player count. So you don't want to save them all till late because you may not have spaces to put them. And then the grande worker. The grande worker in this is one of the coolest things in this game, as far as the worker placement part of it goes. The rest of it is a basic worker placement. Place your worker, you get something reward. The grande worker allows you to go to a place that is blocked off. So there are 3 spaces in each location. In a two-player game, I think 2 of them are blocked off. In a three-player game, I think one of them is blocked off. If I remember correctly, I haven't played it for a little while. Um, but the grande worker allows you to go to a spot that is blocked off. So if someone has already made wine and you really need to make wine because you need to like sell the wine, you can place your grande worker there, and and then you can go there. So that is I really like that. That is kind of one of the big things with the worker placement in this one is that grande worker allowing you to kind of go to places that might be closed off to you normally. So that is Viticulture by Stonemaier Games. And my final one, which is one that I play exclusively solo. This comes to us from Starling Games. This is a very popular game, and the second game in the Edge of the Map series was just recently released, and that is Everdell. Everdell, I play solo. I am showing the Mistwood box cover as well, which actually looks like it matches up pretty well with the base box, because in solo I do prefer Mistwood. But in Everdell, basically what you are doing is you have 3 workers to start the game. You are placing them out into different locations, either to gain resources, to gain buildings or critters that go into your village. You're building a 3x5 grid of the village, or you are going to some spaces to fulfill some different reward things. Um, I cannot remember what they're called off the top of my head. You're going around to place them in different locations so you can get these different rewards depending on what types of critters and um, buildings you have and constructions you have. You can also trade in, and you have some other locations around that main middle spot where you are able to um, get a little extra bonuses and some extra things if some of the spaces along the road are already taken. This is a highly well known one. This is one of my favorite solo games. I also have Far Shore. A lot of people like Far Shore better. They feel like it's taken Everdell, kind of taken a lot of the good, made it, and taken some of the bad out and added some really unique things. I do like the anchor mechanism in Far Shore, where you no longer need a certain building to get a critter for free. You can 3 times per game you can get any critter, but they all play fairly similar. They just have some different mechanics. I'm really looking forward to the new one. Which I cannot think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it's supposed to be released later this year, and so I'm looking forward to that one. And that is Everdell.
I'm excited to talk about this next one. It is by Ghostfire Gaming, and this game isn't even out yet. This is a Kickstarter game that we received a copy of for review.
March 4th.
March 4th is coming out, so let me explain it before you go running off and leave our video. This game is called Companion Quest, and I loved this game. I really, really like this game, and I hope it really does well on what's it called?
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. I already said it once. But Companion Quest is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players. You are a gnome, and you are tasked with preventing Goo Goo from causing chaos in the land. You collect magical energy cubes, which are the dice, snacks, which are the resources, and companions, which are your abilities in the game. Along the way, each companion will help you with their unique ability that allows for you to move the dice to overcome the challenges that come along your way. So when you maneuver the dice, there are cards that will assist you moving it. You can add a number, you can subtract a number, you can change the 6 to a 1, or if you have subtract numbers, you can go from 1 to 6 or a 5, depending on how many you need to subtract. There's some cards that will allow you to add or subtract 1 to 2, which is nice. It will help you to move along the board that way. It's educational. Some of the cards you create, you know, you have to put your dice on there to where like 1 plus 2 equals something plus
Yeah.
something. So you have some small equations that you'll have to work out. Love this game. To complete the quest before you have to get onto the mischief meter, and you have to beat the mischief meter before it gets to the end, before Goo Goo gets through there. And when you are on the same space as Goo Goo, that triggers the end game. Or if Goo Goo gets through the sphere at the end where you see the purple ring, that will trigger the game and then you lose. If you and Goo Goo are on the same spot, you win. So it's a pretty easy game to get to the. Well, I won't say it's easy
No.
to get to the end because we have actually lost.
We were playing wrong. We were playing wrong.
We played wrong when
We
we
missed
did
a very
lose.
key part of things that
Yes.
we. But yeah.
So the dice
Are your
are
workers? The dice
are
are your
your
workers.
workers for the most part in moving along the way. When you spend a dice on the board, you have your workers or your companions that you have, and they each have a different color. They have different colors that are on them. When you spend your dice, you get to wake them up if they're napping. So there's none that I see that are napping on that board.
No.
But when you use the resource for your companion, you turn them sideways and they're basically sleeping. When you use the card that has that colored dice and you play that colored dice and they were sleeping, you get to wake them up and now use that ability for that board. Or for, gosh dang it, I am so sorry, for that ability. So Again, this is coming to Kickstarter on March 4th, so in just a couple weeks. I already love the game. I probably want to play it this weekend sometime.
I think this is one we will probably end
Mm-hmm.
up backing
Mm-hmm.
because we have just the prototype, and the prototype's already really good, but we
Mm-hmm.
want to see what else is coming. So fingers crossed for this one. We'll
Yep.
drop the link for the Kickstarter in the notes as well. We've done initial impressions on this one, and we have a playthrough coming
Mm-hmm.
this week if you want to see how the
Mm-hmm.
game plays. So
You have a lot of communication going on this game. So if you don't like to
mm-hmm.
talk to people when you play, this game might not be for you. Or you might lose, whichever you prefer. But you do need to communicate so that you can try and beat Gugu across the meter. I just really like this game. It is a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what it adds for the
I
Kickstarter
am too.
version.
I am too. I'm very
So,
excited to see what it does
yep.
in the full version.
Again, that is Companion Quest by Game or Ghostfire Gaming.
So there you have it, guys. There's 15
Placement.
worker placement, and I just realized that I have the
Mm-hmm.
wrong title.
I noticed that a long time
Oh,
ago. I didn't want to say that though.
I uploaded the new one. Shoot.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Worker placement. Well, that stinks. Yeah, that's so we'll just take that off there.
Okay.
That is 15 worker placement recommendations. It's just I would have changed it.
Oh, I didn't know you could while we were
Yeah, I
playing.
could have changed
I
it.
don't do any of
That's
the
okay.
tech
I
stuff.
would have changed it.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's 15 worker placement games, which it did not say, which kind of stinks. What are some of your favorite worker placement games? Do you have anything that is similar to some of the things we like about some of these ones? Drop us a note in the recommendations. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well. Once again, this is Ben, where there's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time.
At the table.